this video, we'll be looking at CSS selectors. CSS selectors are patterns used to select the HTML element you want to style in your CSS sheets. There are various ways to select your HTML element, but in this video we'll be looking at three ways to select your three CSS selectors, which are element, class, and ID. So right now I'm just going to minimize my screen, and as you can see we have an index file, HTML index file. So I'll be adding a style file to it, CSS style file .css. And I'm just going to link it. Okay, so let me just display the three selectors we'll be looking at. Like I said, there are other types of selectors, but we'll be going over those types in subsequent videos. So I'm just going to use an OL tag for an ordered list and type in the element, the class, and the ID. Okay, so starting with the element selector is the easiest way to get to select your HTML element for styling in your style sheets. It's the easiest way, but not the most controlled way of doing so. Let me show you what I mean. Now, to use an element selector in your style sheet, let's say you have a p tag and you want to style it. So I'll just type in, this is an element selector. So we've refreshed and we have it here. So I want to style this element with a black background. So I want this to have a black background and a white font color. So all I have to do is just go to my style sheet, which we have already linked, type in P with brackets, then I'm going to say the background color, I want it black, or let's say blue, and I want the font color, which we will type as just color, I want it yellow. So this is what we have here. Now, why I said you have little control when using an element selector, you have little control of how this of your styling, is that if we have another p tag, this is a p tag, we can see that we also have the same styling in this p tag, and in situations where you want a different way of styling this p tag, we see that we'll quickly run into a problem. So to take care of this situation and to have more control over how you style your tags, we use a class selector. This is a class selector. Now, to use a class selector, we have to inject an attribute into our tags. Now, we said that attributes are like further information you give to your tags, and this is found in your opening tags. So what we'll do is that we'll type in class and we'll name it. So we can name it anything. So I'm just going to name it Apple. Then we'll head over to our style sheet and type in dots. This dot is very important because it lets the style sheet know that we are dealing with a class selector. So I will also type in the name we had given it in the HTML file, which is Apple. So I am going to give it a background color of green and font color, which we'll type as color of let's say red. And we can see that though it is a p tag, it has a different style from this other two. And if we want this p tag to have the same style, all we have to do is give it the same class, and there you have it. So we can control which tags or which elements we give styling to, unlike this element. So you can control which tags we give the styling to, unlike this element tag that just renders the same style to all your tags. So the last one we'll be looking at is the ID. Now let's say let's change it a bit. We have okay, let's style this ID tag here. For the ID tag, it's a lot like the class tag, but where you want to style an element uniquely, you use an ID tag. And because you are styling that any element uniquely, you can only use that styling once. You cannot duplicate it like the style sheet. So if I want to style this ID list in a different way, all I'll do is give it an ID attribute and also name it. So I'm going to name it cars. You can name it anything. I'll head over to my style sheet and give it a hash tag and give it the name I had given it, which is cars. So I want to style this ID with a purple background and a gold color font. So you can see that the style has been rendered here. So for this style, I can't use it anywhere. So where you want to render a style just once in your style sheet, you use an ID tag. Most of the time we use classes because you most of the time render styles, you repeat styles in your style sheet, so most of the time you end up using style sheet classes. So this is just the basic introduction of CSS selectors, and we'll use this a lot as we go into CSS styling.